Hello students, I am Dr. Nidhi Gupta. I am a faculty at the Center for Population Health and Development at the School of Development Studies, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai. I welcome you to the module on Indigenous Systems of Medicine, which falls under the Population and Health paper. The main objectives of this module is to orient the students about the indigenous systems of medicine, that is ISM, its origin and importance in improving the quality of life of people. The module will also enable the students to understand the changes in the importance of ISM in public policy in India over the last century. This module also highlights the role of ISM in strengthening the health system of our country in bridging the gap between the demand and supply of healthcare. An important objective of this module is to introduce the concept of medical pluralism and the challenges that arise due to medical pluralism. The World Health Organization has acknowledged that there is no satisfactory term to refer to the non-Western or the so-called indigenous medical system, and the traditional medicine eludes precise definition or description. The term traditional medicine includes diverse health practices, approaches, knowledge and beliefs, incorporating the plants, animals and/or the mineral-based medications, the spiritual therapies, the manual techniques and exercises applied singularly or in combination to maintain the well-being as well as to treat, diagnose and prevent illness. Indigenous system of medicine is the term which is usually used to emphasize the civilization origin of a particular system of medicines. For example, biomedicine, homeopathy and naturopathy have their origins in Europe, and so are indigenous systems of Europe. Similarly, the Ayurveda, Siddha and Unani systems of medicine have their civilizational origins in India. Some researchers and academicians believe that the term Indian systems of medicine was used for bureaucratic convenience and included Ayurveda, Unani, Siddha and naturopathy, that is, the so-called ancient medical systems practiced in India. We also come across another term which is ISM and H, which indicates the Indian system of medicine and homeopathy. Now let us look at the various indigenous systems of medicines prevalent in India. In India, Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, Yoga, homeopathy and naturopathy together encompass the indigenous systems of medicine. Of these systems, only Ayurveda and Yoga are native to our country. Ayurveda is believed to be the most ancient of medicine with an impressive record of efficacy. It has penetrated in the Indian culture and our everyday living, be it some aspects of the lifestyle, food or medicines from our kitchen in the form of spices that we use. Concepts and practices pertaining to diet, work, daily life and life cycle are more coherent and constitute the health culture of a region derived from the indigenous medical traditions. Hence, we observe that various terms are interchangeably used to refer to indigenous systems of medicine in India, like traditional medicines, ISM and H, and more recently, Ayush, which means Ayurveda, Unani, Siddha, and homeopathy. Let us look at the origin and philosophy of various indigenous systems of medicines prevalent in India. Ayurveda. Ayurveda by definition implies the knowledge of life, or knowledge which helps in enjoying healthy life and prolonging it. Its origin is traced far back to the Vedic times, which is about 5000 before Christ. Dhanvantri, the Hindu god of medicine, is said to have been born as a result of the churning of the oceans during a tug-of-war between the gods and the demons, which is depicted in the ancient text as the Amrit Manthan. It is said that the medical knowledge in the Atharva Ved, which is one of the 4 Vedas, gradually developed into the science of Ayurveda. Now let us look at some of the key contributors and important texts in Ayurveda. Maharshi Atraya, Maharshi Charak, Maharshi Sushruta and Maharshi Vagbhat are some of the key celebrated authorities in the field of Ayurvedic medicine. Among the many distinguished names in Hindu medicine, Charak is known as the father of medicine, who wrote the classic text of Charak Samhita. Similarly, another acclaimed contributor, that is Maharshi Sushruta, is known as the father of Indian surgery. He compiled the surgical knowledge of his time and its classic text is called Sushrut Samhita. Now let us look at the philosophy of Ayurveda. As we discussed, Ayurveda is the science or knowledge of life. The purpose of Ayurveda is to protect the health of the healthy and to alleviate disorders of the diseased, which is clearly highlighted in the shloka Swasthasya Swasthya Rakshanam Aturasya Vikar Prashmanancha. That means the ultimate aim is the attainment of salvation through liberation and good consciousness, that is moksha, after attaining a good health and prolonging the life. Ayurveda is based on the Tridosha theory of disease. The doshas or the humors are Vata or the wind, Pitta or the gall, and Kapha, the mucus. When these are in perfect balance and harmony, then it is called Samavastha, that is, a person is said to be healthy. However, any disturbance in the equilibrium of these three humors results in diseases. And the treatment of the disturbance of these three doshas is rectified by using a holistic approach through Pathya Ahar, Vihar and Aushadh. For this, it is understood that Ayurveda's approach towards individual's disease, drug is basic, holistic and natural. Ayurveda believes in the principle that whatever existed in the universe can be seen within the body. Therefore, diet and drugs are derived from the natural resources and are to be used according to elements, that is the Mahabhutas, humors or the doshas, and the individual's constitution, that is the individual's prakriti. This Tridosha theory of disease is strikingly similar to the theory of four humors in the Greek medicine. Now let us look at the other indigenous systems of medicines like Unani, Siddha and Homeopathy. Among other indigenous systems, Unani, Homeopathy are not of Indian origin. The origin of Unani system of medicine is traced to the ancient Greek medicine, which was introduced by the Muslim rulers in India in about the 10th century AD. By the 13th century, the Unani system of medicine was firmly entrenched in the northern parts of the country, especially in the towns and the cities of Delhi, Aligarh, Lucknow and Hyderabad. Homeopathy. The origin of homeopathy is traced in the late 18th century in Germany. Dr. Samuel Hahnemann is known as the father of homeopathy for creating this alternate system of medicine. Homeopathy gained foothold in India in early 19th century during 1810 and 1839. It is a system of pharmacodynamics and is based on the philosophy that treatment of disease by the use of small amount of drug that in healthy person produces symptoms similar to those of disease being treated. Though homeopathy is practiced in several countries, but India claims to have the largest number of practitioners of this system in the world. These alternate systems of medicine, that is Ayurveda, Yoga, Siddha, Unani and Homeopathy, are very much alive in India even today. In fact, they have become the part of Indian culture and continue to be an important source of medical relief, especially to the rural population. Now let us look at what medical pluralism is. The term medical pluralism is used to describe the coexistence in a society of different medical traditions grounded in different principles based on different worldviews. Leslie in 1976 introduced the term medical pluralism to denote the Asian model which was in contrast to the modern healthcare model based on single, standardized, hierarchical system of medicine, which is strictly controlled by physicians. Medical pluralism proposes collaboration between allopathic and traditional medicines, especially as a part of primary healthcare approach. It is important not only because of the efficacy and wide use of traditional medicine, but also because of its potential of improving both allopathic and traditional practices towards the ultimate purpose of improving health by developing a more holistic approach to healthcare. Now let us look at the evolution of medical pluralism from the colonial times in India. During the 19th century, the biomedicine got well accepted in Europe and America, and other systems of medicines were banned. But in India, the cultural ideologies supported indigenous systems of medicine, and it was not possible to ban these systems of medicine or even regulate them. Some of the very early experiments were done in India in mid-19th century to integrate indigenous systems of medicine with the Western medicine at the National Medical Institution in Calcutta. However, this institution was later replaced by a medical college. The indigenous practitioners played an instrumental role in establishment of Western medicine in India in the 19th century, as they themselves got trained in the Western medicine in the vernacular language. By the end of 19th century, the ISM was informally integrated with the medical services. However, the practitioners of modern medicine achieved hegemony, while the ISM practitioners as well as the trained Dais were allocated minuscule or the leftover jobs. By 20th century, there was a strong resistance towards indigenous systems of medicine, as medical registrations were denied to the practitioners of indigenous systems of medicine, and the allopathic doctors were deregistered for being associated with ISM institutions. Though there were protests against these acts, and some of the wealthy people supported the establishment of institutions for training manpower in ISM. Now let us look at the situation of medical pluralism post-independence. At the time of independence in 1948, the Bore Committee established the direction of India's health system, which grossly overlooked the role of traditional medicine. Bore Committee was not having even a single representation of these indigenous systems of medicine on its board. In contradiction to the recommendations of Bore Committee regarding indigenous systems of medicine, Shoke Committee, which is also known as the National Planning Committee, gave due recognition to the Vaidyas and Hakims and proposed that their training should be conducted to mainstream them with the physicians and surgeons or gynecologists and obstetricians. Another important committee titled the Chopra Committee was set up to plan for ISM in independent India. The committee recommended mutual learning between allopathy and the indigenous system of medicine, and some practitioners of each being given education in the other so that all systems could be enriched and evolve into one integrated knowledge system. Though many of these committees were set up for recommending health planning in India post-independence, supported the strengthening of indigenous system of medicine, they prioritized the modern medicine by asserting that the national health services should be based on modern medicine and its persons should be adequately trained in modern medicine to be comparable to international standards. These recommendations and thinking of people involved in planning of health services at the national level led to supremacy of modern medicine in the Indian health system and making medical pluralism official. This subordination, in addition, led to consequential marginalization of budgets for indigenous system of medicine, which eroded these rich systems of medicines over the next few decades. However, The focus on ISM regained its importance after a radical change that took place after the Alma Ata in 1978, which recognized the traditional medical practitioners as important allies and recommended their training and engagement in primary health care. This was reflected in India's first national health policy, which was launched in 1983, that recommended ISM and H to be integrated in the overall healthcare delivery system. The policy also referred to Indigenous system of medicine as our rich, centuries-old heritage of medical and health sciences. This was followed by various other developments in the consecutive years. In 1971, the Central Council of Indian Medicine was established to prescribe the minimum standards of education in indigenous medicine. In 1995, the Department of Indian System of Medicine and Homeopathy was established. In 2003, the Department of Ayush was installed, which focused attention for development of education and research in Ayurveda, Yoga and Naturopathy, Unani, Siddha and Homeopathy. In 2014, a major boost came when the Ministry of Ayush was established by upgrading the existing Department of Ayush. Now let us look at the indigenous system of medicine practitioners as healthcare providers in our healthcare system. The ISM practitioners provide the bulk of medical care to the rural people. Ayurvedic physicians alone are estimated to be 4.38 lakhs. Majority, that is about 90% of the Ayurvedic practitioners provide care services in the rural areas. These physicians are familiar with the local context both socially and culturally. Hence, their acceptance in the community is very high and they are the primary healthcare providers in the interiors. Since 2005, the Government of India undertook a very progressive step by launching National Rural Health Mission, which aimed at strengthening the public health system to provide quality and accessible care to people living in rural areas of the country. Under NRHM, one Ayush doctor was to be posted at the primary health center and 2 at the community health center. This was a step towards integrating Ayush in NRHM. Under the other infrastructure that was created, there was separate Department of Ayush which was created at the ministry level. At CHC, separate allocation of space was provided to Ayush doctors with separate paramedical personnels and Ayush medicines available at CHC. The purpose of mainstreaming was 1. To give choice of treatment to patients, and 2nd was to strengthen the public health services system by providing human resource in the form of Ayush doctors. Now let us look at the Ayush infrastructure and the human resource that has been added to the public health system after NRHM till 2011. Over 11,000 doctors, Ayush doctors have been added to the public health system. If you look at the paramedical staff that has been added under Ayush, it is about 4,600. Some of the hospital infrastructure has also been upgraded, where we find that at the hospital level, at the district hospital level, about 416 district hospitals have Ayush department. About 3,000 community health centers have Ayush doctors there. And in addition to that, at PHCs, about 10,000 of the PHCs have Ayush doctors there. In addition to integrating Ayush at primary and secondary levels, 7 national institutes offer tertiary level care in Ayush. Also, we have some standalone Ayush facilities where we have about 3,300 Ayush hospitals and 21,000 Ayush dispensaries. Now let us look at some of the challenges in mainstreaming the indigenous system of medicine and homeopathy. In the last decade, it has been observed that there have been various initiatives to integrate ISM and H in the healthcare delivery system of India. However, on critically reviewing the essence of the efforts of conceptualizing this integration and implementation, it is observed that there is a spirit of integration of ISM and H in the healthcare delivery system in order to meet the gap between the healthcare demand and supply. The true commitment to mainstream Ayush and acknowledge it as a comprehensive system of medicine is bleak. This is clearly reflected by the current major initiative of NRHM, in which one of the main strategy to improve access to healthcare is mainstreaming of Ayush. Though the initiative of NRHM attempted to mainstream Ayush by integrating indigenous system of medicine and homeopathy in the healthcare delivery, the hegemony of the modern medicine persists. This is clearly reflected by the fact that ISM and H practitioners as well as paramedics have been recruited on temporary basis, and there is an inequality regarding salary structure of Ayush doctors as compared to allopathic doctors. There are no interlinkages and interface between Ayush department and allopathy. Both these vertical stand as standalone departments with no linkages. Although biomedical knowledge was integrated in Ayush training as per the recommendations of the Chopra committee, but no learning of Ayush system was incorporated in allopathic medicine. If we look at the Indian Public Health Standards, it clearly provides a guideline for herbal medicine gardens at the primary healthcare centers and the sub-centers, which are practically absent. Similarly, there are regulations that limit the practice of modern medicine by ISM and H practitioners, though they are oriented about the modern system of medicines as a part of their professional training, while there are no regulations to limit the use of indigenous systems of medicine by allopathic practitioners who are not oriented to the philosophy or pharmacology of the drugs used by these systems of medicines. To conclude, we can say very clearly that indigenous system of medicine and homeopathy contributes to provisions of health care in most inaccessible areas of the country and hence is vital to the healthcare system. Various terms are interchangeably used to refer to indigenous system of medicine in India like traditional medicines, Ayush, ISM and H, alternate systems of medicines, etc. Some terminologies like traditional system of medicine or alternate system of medicine reflect the hierarchy set in recognizing various systems of medicines, with modern medicine or allopathy being referred to as the main form and the rest being the alternate forms of medicine. The indigenous system of medicines are holistic and are embedded in the culture of the communities of the country. However, during the colonial rule, the Western medicine was introduced in the country and was advocated to be the system of medicine with highest efficacy. It was after Alma Ata in 1978 that indigenous system of medicine were acknowledged internationally to be a rich source to improve the quality of life of people. India also framed its national health policy in 1983, which recommended ISM and H to be integrated to the overall healthcare delivery system. Since then, there have been various developments in strengthening and mainstreaming of Ayush. However, challenges of subordination of these systems of medicine as well as stepmotherly treatment towards Ayush practitioner continues. This gives rise to the debate on benefits and drawbacks of existing medical pluralism. Thank you.